Let me describe another experience from my life that helped me understand the value of a job to be done. One of the world's largest fast food restaurant chains was trying to increase the sales of their milkshakes. And these were very capable marketers. And they actually had developed a profile of the quintessential product that was correlated with every item on their menu. And so they had a demographic profile of the quintessential milkshake customer. That allowed them to bring in people who represented that profile into conference rooms, and they would ask, could you just give us feedback on how we can improve the milkshakes so you buy more of them? And they'd give very clear feedback. The company would then improve the milkshake on those dimensions, and it had no impact on sales or profits whatsoever. And they kept doing that, but they could never understand the customer was their complaint. Well, at about that time, this concept of the job to be done was emerging from our research. And so we invited them to let us take another lens on this problem. So my colleague stood in one of their restaurants for 18 hours one time, and he just took very careful notes on what time did he buy the milkshake, what was he wearing? They were almost all males. Did he buy other food with it? Was he alone or with other people? Did he eat the milkshake in the restaurant, or did he get in the car and drove off with it? It turned out that nearly half of the milkshakes were sold before 8:30 in the morning. It was the only thing they bought. They were always alone, and they all got in the car and drove off with it. So to figure out what job they were needing to get done, we came back the next morning and positioned ourselves outside the restaurant so that we could confront these customers as they emerged with this milkshake in hand. And in language that they could understand, we essentially would say, I got a problem here. What job were you trying to get done that caused you to come here and hire this milkshake at 6:30 in the morning? And if they struggled to answer the question, we'd say, well, look, think about the last time you were in the same situation, needing to get the same job done, but you didn't come here to hire the milkshake. What did you hire? Well, it turned out that they all had the same job to do in the morning, and that is they had a long and boring drive to work. And they just needed something to do while they were driving to be engaged with life. One hand had to be on the wheel, but geez, somebody gave me another hand and there isn't anything in it. And they needed something to do while they were driving to be engaged. They weren't hungry yet, but they also needed something that they could eat now and it would stay in their stomach for the morning. So once we framed it in that way, we'd ask, so when you didn't come here to hire the milkshake, what did you hire? And we got some very interesting answers. One guy said, I never thought about it before, but last Friday I hired a banana to do the job. Take my word for it. Never hire bananas. They're gone in a minute. You're hungry by 7:30. If you promise not to tell my wife, I hired donuts a lot, but frame it this way. They don't do the job very well either. They crumb all over your clothes. They make your fingers gooey. You're hungry by 8 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I do bagels, but geez, they're dry and tasteless. And so I have to run the car with my knees while I put the cream cheese on. And then if the phone rings, I have 3 problems in 2 hands. And what are you going to do? Another guy said, I hired a Snickers bar once, but boy, I felt so guilty I've never hired a Snickers bar again. But let me tell you, when I hire a milkshake, it is so thick and viscous, it takes me 23 minutes to suck it up that thin little straw. What the ingredients are, I don't know, but all I know is it's in my stomach all morning. And it turns out that the milkshake does the job better than any of the competitors. The competitors are not just Burger King milkshakes, but from the customer's point of view, the milkshake competes against bananas and donuts and bagels and Snickers bars and coffee and who knows what else. So we could understand when we realized that this was the job to be done, was the reason why the company had been trying to improve the products so that people would buy more of them. They had been improving the milkshake on dimensions of performance that are irrelevant to the job to be done. And once we understood what the job is, it became so clear how to improve the product so that it nailed the job much better than it could before. So how would you improve the milkshake?